Hello, friends. This is Benjamin here. Today we want to talk about the conditional sentence. What exactly is a conditional sentence? Why is it important? What are the types of conditional sentences that we can use in communicating our ideas? And how do we communicate with conditional sentences? And what are the specific examples? All this and much more we shall look at in today's video. If you are new to this channel, kindly subscribe to the channel. And if you are interested in getting to know whenever we upload a new video, click on the bell icon so that each time we upload a new video on this channel, you will be notified instantly. Let's go straight into the lecture. We are going to share the page and be able to discuss this together. Okay. Let's get to share the page. Okay, here we are. Then let's make the page quite conspicuous. Okay. Let's get the page to be quite conspicuous. Okay, here we are. Conditional sentences. Now, a conditional sentence is one that expresses something that must be true or happen before something else can be true or happen. A conditional sentence is made up of two major parts. Number one, an if clause, which is a subordinate clause. That if clause states a condition, and then is followed by a main clause that shows us the result. For example, if you work hard, you will pass your exams. If you work hard is an if clause. It states a condition that must be met, that must be true, something that has to happen before you pass your exams. And then you will pass your exams is the result of, the first thing that happens. Then if we reconstruct it, we can say if you don't work hard, you will fail your exam. So the if clause always states a condition, and the main clause that follows will show us the result of the earlier event. Now let's look at why conditional sentences are important. Conditional sentences are among the English grammatical structures that follow very clear rules. So using conditional sentences makes it easy for you to express your ideas, your thoughts clearly and confidently when you speak. So using conditional sentences is a very important way of expressing your ideas quite clearly. And this is why it's important that we learn how to use conditional sentences. Now let's look at types of conditional sentences. Number one is called the actual conditional, and this type is called the zero conditional sentence, and it expresses what actually happens. We use it to express or state general truths, facts, or habits, something that actually happens. Examples: A, when a cube of sugar is put in water, it dissolves. Or we can say if you put a cube of sugar in water, it will dissolve. Of course, that's is a scientific fact. And the second example, if it rains, the streets get wet. That's a clear statement of fact. And so, this kind is the actual conditional. It states what actually happens in real life. And the second one is the likely conditional. This type is called the first conditional, and it expresses a likely future event or what could happen. For example, if it rains, I will not go to school. It's possible it could rain, and it's possible I will not go to school. B, if I meet him, I will give him the letter. It's a clear possibility. It's possible I meet him, probably I'm going to someone's office. It's possible I meet him in his office or in his house, and it's possible I give him the letter if I meet him. So it states a likely condition, something that could happen. Then the third one is the unlikely conditional. This type is called the second conditional, and it expresses an unlikely event in the future, something that is not likely to happen. For example, if it rained, the streets would get wet. Now, one striking feature of this particular type of conditional sentence is the use of the simple past tense. If it rained, the street would get wet. So we are talking of a past event, a time that has passed, and this really never happened. And it's not likely that we will reinvent that time that has passed. So it's an unlikely situation. The second example is if I met him, I would give him the letter. The fact is that I never met him and I never gave him the letter. And it's unlikely that that possibility will occur. The fourth one is called the impossible conditional. This type is called the third conditional, and it expresses an impossible situation. It is called an impossible situation because it never happened. For example, if it had rained, the streets would have been wet, And one major feature of this type is the use of the past perfect tense. And grammatically, we refer to the past perfect tense as a past in the past. That is to express or to capture an event, that happened in a past in the past. If it had rained, the street would have been would have been wet. If it had happened, the streets would have been wet. So we are talking of two situations. Now, if we reconstruct it to refer to something that actually happened, then we will find that there are two events and one happened before the other. And so if we remove the if there, we can say that the streets became wet after it had rained, or after it had rained, the streets became wet or were wet, So if we are talking of a real situation that happened, we will be talking of two events that happened in the past. And the one we use the past perfect to express will be what we refer to as the past in the past. After it had rained, the streets, became wet, So it's a past in the past. We are talking of two events that happened in the past. But here is an impossible situation because both past events have actually elapsed and they never happened. And it is impossible to rewind the time to make it happen. The second example is if I had met him, I would have given him the letter. The situation is that I never met him and I never gave him the letter. So and the situation has just passed and there's no possibility of rewinding the time, So that is the impossible conditional. And so the four types of conditional sentences, we looked at the actual conditional, which is called the zero conditional sentence, is used in expressing real events that happen, facts and truths and habits, Then the likely condition, a possible future event. Then the unlikely condition, we are looking at a past situation that never happened. And so it's an unlikely condition. If it rained, the streets would get wet. If I met him, I would give him the letter. It's an unlikely condition. Then we discussed the impossible condition, totally impossible. If it had rained, the streets would have been wet, Or let's look at this example. If I were you, if I were you, I would, so a situation like that, it's not possible for me to become you. So there are clearly impossible situations, and there are also instances where we use some of these things hypothetically. So these are the ways in which we use conditional sentences. I want to believe that you have been able to learn what conditional sentences are, the different types of conditional sentences, and how you can use them in communicating your ideas when you speak and when you write the English language. So in our future lectures, we shall discuss other topics. If you have gained and you have some commendations, please leave your comments below. If there are suggestions you have as to how I can improve my lectures, please leave your comments below as well. If you have suggestions as to which topics you would want me to treat next, your suggestions and your comments are also welcome. So I want to thank you, and if you want to enjoy other videos like this, please subscribe to this channel and click on the bell icon so that whenever I upload a new video on the channel, you'll be notified instantly. See you in the next video, and bye for now.